Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the OSR Tabletop live stream with DM Bloodworth. Um, so this is pretty much just like an open mic night. I'm going to do some of a recap on my current AD&D First Edition campaign, which has just entered its 48th week. So actually Tuesday will begin our 49th, obviously. And the the campaign has been going extremely well. I have a great core group of players. Their characters are, very well developed at this point. Really after 48 weeks, they should be, but it's a real testament to their dedication in showing up week after week and developing their characters, focusing on things that are important to them and important to their characters. And it's just been super going well. So where they're currently at this point, and I'm hoping that some of them will jump on. I sent out the invitation. Hopefully some people can join in. I have up to 10 slots for people to jump in. If you want to, just send a private message, and then I can send out you the invite to jump in. So if you want to join in, that's great. I'll continue talking about about our current campaign. So we've been focusing on trying to maintain the integrity of I would say about 90% of the rules as written with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. And I've been trying to incorporate as much of the much touted three pillars of combat, exploration, and social interaction. And virtually every step of the way, every week, the players are experiencing those three pillars, through their characters, and in a lot of cases, they're actually generating the content, or at least inspiring me to go into different directions as well. But we do have that one common thread that runs through the entire campaign. And ultimately, I'm hoping that in the months and even years ahead, we will get to that point. So, but if we end up not going where, I had kind of a foreshadowed plan on getting to, that's fine too, because the campaign isn't dependent on the particular story thread that they're following. The campaign is dependent on this group of players coming together weekly with their characters and just interacting with one another and supporting one another and facing these challenges as they go through, and whatever direction they want to take it in is certainly something that I'm open to. So really looking forward to the continuation of our campaign. Let's see, we got Takato. Hey, Takato, welcome. And hey, Takato, if you ever want to jump in and join on this side of the screen, just throw in a private chat, and I'll send you a link if you want to jump in. If not, just leave your comments in the comments section. So for those of you just joining now, so First Edition AD&D campaign going along extremely well. Now, some of you already know that this is actually the eve of my retirement from the New York City Board of Education. I have spent the last 26 and a half years in the educational system. Plus, I had gotten some military time added into that as well. And it was just a very good timing for myself to to decide to close that chapter and open up a whole new chapter. And that is going to mean that I will have a lot more time to do more gaming and to do more videos and to do more live streams, and still work part-time with my union job. So I'm still looking to continue doing that. And if I do that for another 10 years, perhaps I'll have a second pension. But still enjoy doing that job. Still enjoy helping other teachers and future teachers plan for their retirement. So I'm a pension consultant, and that's what I do as a side job. So looking forward to continuing doing that. But as I said, I will have much more time to dedicate to the hobby of my choice, and that is tabletop role-playing games. Let's get to more comments here. Going to guess that weapon to hit adjustment versus AC type is the 10% of the rules that's being ignored. Yes, that's one of them. I mean, when we come across rules that either I had not considered, because I'm certainly not a real rules wonk. I know the basics, and we bring these up once in a while, especially after a session. We don't stop our game to dig into a rule. The most that'll be said is, "Hey, wait a second, this happened, but we'll continue, but we'll address it afterwards." And we tend to dig through and look afterwards. So in my most recent game, just this past Tuesday night, they were involved in the combat with this demon. This demon was actually manifested into the body of a magic user druid. And at one point the druid in the party, she had cast a like an anti-plant growth spell. I'm just slipping my mind what it is. And so she had cast that. And then she was there were these tendrils that were wrapped around bodies on the floor. And so she thought that perhaps if these tendrils were at least partially plant, that she'd be able to, to reduce them, diminish them, because they were afraid to actually enter the circle with all of this, this postulous, gooey looking stuff. And so she had cast the spell, and it had no effect because those tendrils were, of demonic nature, not of plant life. However, about 2 rounds later, the druid had cast the demonic druid had cast a entanglement spell, and it entangled a couple members of the party. 3 members of the party. It's a party of 6 or 7. And then we continued throughout the battle. And then it kind of dawned on her, and I really wasn't thinking of it. At the time, she was like, "Oh, wait a second. How did he cast an entangle spell?" And, it just slipped my mind. I was like, well, there was plants like underneath the flagstones that they were on, and in the crevices and everything. And then she's like, "Yeah, but my spell would have stopped that. He wouldn't have been able to cast his spell for an additional 2 rounds." And in hindsight, she was absolutely correct. So sometimes we come across rules that, now I could have very easily said, by DM fiat, it just doesn't work that way, with this. But no, she was right, and there should have been a 2-round delay. I don't regret having that situation occur, because the fact that the paladin was really inhibited. He was entangled the entire combat. He was entangled, and the fact that the rest of the party actually had to respond um, to that combat in a different way, because they didn't have many of their frontline melee combatants involved with it, and so it worked out as far as the storytelling went. It worked out really well, but again, in hindsight, she was absolutely right. And that's something that I will have to, keep in mind when my players, because my players are very ingenious when it comes to casting their spells. And, I have to think, because a lot of times I'm creating on the fly what is the response, because, they are somewhat unpredictable with what they're doing. And I just have to make sure that, I keep those things in mind as they're going along, to keep some kind of a continuity to the rules, and that's the way it goes. So really exciting. Venture. Almost the whole session took. That was an 11-round combat with a fairly powerful demon, a 10-hit die demon, and about 9 Yeth hounds in his service against 6 player characters and 1 NPC, or a player character being controlled by another player. And so it was really a great experience, and I'll go into further detail with that at some other time, especially if I can get all the group together and we can just talk about that one encounter, because it was that cool. So let's see, Cal. Yes, thank you, Cal. I know it's just one more day, or officially it's all over with, but at the stroke of midnight, my paperwork, I guess, is activated, and I am officially retired. So I am sipping a little glass of rum to celebrate. But let's see. Time to goof off. Yes. Retirement is a great thing. I hope so. I hope that, and like I said, it's a semi-retirement. I'm only 55, so I'm not going to pack up my life and just chill and relax, all day. I do have to do some things to keep myself busy, but like I said, doing more videos and going through some more, some of my books behind me, and just laying those out and talking about them and sharing them, with all of you, is something that I will have certainly much more time. And I'm looking to get a second game session and a new game campaign going, and that is going to be a Star Frontiers campaign. Now, this is classic Star Frontiers, so I'm not messing around with anything new. I'm going with Alpha Dawn and Nighthawks, and that is what our campaign is going to be. Many of my AD&D players are joined in on that, but I do have some new players coming in on that as well. So people I haven't run games for, and just really excited to do some Star Frontiers, and hopefully I can get this very long-standing campaign rolling with them as well. We like to talk about campaigns that run not days, not sessions, but weeks and months, and possibly even years. So that's where we're kind of focusing on, is to keep these groups going and to keep these campaigns going for as long as we possibly can. Hello, James Long, and thank you. I'm just starting year 4 of my teaching in the fall. Keep up with the great content. Thank you, and good luck to you. I don't know what state you're in. I'm in New York, and we have a tier system. And if you happen to be in New York as well, you're most likely tier 6, and there's hope for those new people coming in with some changes to your tier status. That's the biggest thing about the teaching profession, and the way that some states handle it is, sometimes they can make policy changes, at the state level that impacts your whole career trajectory. It's one of the downsides to it. So, unlike other government jobs, I think the teaching profession is the one that gets altered most often. I know I spent 8 years in the military, and it didn't change, even though we had to change 99. It changed on a daily basis, and almost from hour to hour, very often. But there weren't dramatic changes. There weren't whole mission changes and new mission statements. I've been through 6 principals, probably about a half dozen or more superintendents, and 3 governors, about 3 governors, or possibly even 4. I don't know, probably 3 governors, and all the changes, 3 mayors. So all the changes that go with that. So good luck to you. It's a great career, especially if you are blessed with very good cycle of students that you can follow for a couple years and then send them on their way and pick up another, luckily, hopefully another good cycle that goes through. Kind of few and far between, but as you go longer and longer through it, you'll reminisce at all of the really good times, and the students that you're still in touch with. I have students that I'm still in touch with that I taught back in 2006 as 8th graders, and I'm still in touch with them today. So these are young men and women that are pushing age like 29 and 30, at this point. And so it's really, it really is a pleasure to have, impacted young lives like that. Hello, Legion of Myth. Howdy. How's it going? Shadow and Sun. How's it going, Shadow? Shadow, reach out to me with an email or a private message if we are looking for a dedicated Magic user for the AD&D First Edition campaign. So, and if you come in within like the next week or so, I think it'll be fairly easy to work you into the into the group that way, because they're going to be hung up for about 2 weeks of game time at least, because they need training, and the druid was almost killed, so she actually is going to be laid up for the first week of almost total immobility, and she's barely conscious for the next week, and then her natural healing will kick in, and then she might still look to train at some point, because I believe she will level up as well, and so I believe she's going to be level 8. So yeah, so if you're going to come in, now's kind of the time to come in. And it's a shout out to Max. So yes, Max is Legion of Myth. So hello, Max. So Cal, I see the same rogues show up. Yes, we always get the same group, which is actually a nice thing. I like having the same people come into the channel. I certainly welcome new people as well. I like seeing new faces as well, but the familiar faces coming in tells me that we have a lot of things in common, and we all kind of follow the same kind of circle of of people out there. So it's always good to see familiar faces, and it's great to see new faces as well. All right. I haven't started writing today, Murphy's Law. I hope to start now. Yes, I know you're working on your game, and I'm looking forward to checking that out. I'm still at work on break. Well, it's probably a different time. It's 7:20 my time, so I guess you're in an earlier time zone. Yeah, I really couldn't imagine juggling 3 campaigns at once, but gonna try to. But it's got to be 2 different systems completely. Yes, we're all 55, I guess. Yeah, 55's not terribly old. Young for retirement, but not terribly old. But not like cop young retirement. What's that, like 40, 48, or even less? Um, I think firefighters retire after 20 as well. Hello, Holy Soul. So, and here we have a new face. I haven't seen you, or at least I don't recall having seen you before. Yes, the original Star Frontiers. I actually have the 2 boxes right behind me over there. And I got both on eBay, and they are complete. And I got both, I want to say, for between like 40 and $50 for the box sets. Maybe Nighthawks was a little bit more because it had the unpunched counters. So that was maybe 60. And then I actually went through 2 copies of the of Zebulon's Guide. I had a hard time finding it for cheap. It was like pushing like $100 for a while, and I was like, "There's no way I'm paying $100 for this thing." So bought it for I bought it off drive through from Wizards of the Coast, which really despise having done that. But I just couldn't. I just wanted a reading copy that I could look through, as I was planning on doing some things with Star Frontiers a couple of months ago. And then I no sooner got that within a day or two, and I found one on eBay for like 25, $30. I think $30. So I just jumped on it. I was like, all right, let me get that for $30. And then I took the Wizards of the Coast one, and I donated that to my niece, who I also gave one of my 5th edition supplement books. I gave her the Sword Coast Legends supplement book because she's an artist, and so I wanted her to have some hardcovers. She plays 5e, but no one in her group actually has anything but the PDF, which they copied and shared amongst the whole group. So none of them have a hard copy of anything. So I was like, well, here you go. You can take that. And eventually, once I continue losing shelf space, eventually I'll end up probably giving her the core 3 books of 5e, which are the only ones that I have left. So yes, hard copies are definitely worth it if you can get them for fairly cheap. Like I said, a box set for between 40 and $60 is not too bad. Yes, I got the and it wasn't a very good print either. Um, it's like you would think that Wizards of the Coast would spend a little bit of time doing better scans, or just, you know, they own the property. Just retype the crap up, reformat it and put it out there, as a reformatted, revised copy of it. But I think they're pretty much content with just shelving the other IPs that they hold. All right, let's see. I will go back to some more people coming in. When you said the tier system, I thought you were talking about relegating players for a second there. Yes, yes. I'm going to have a bench. All right. So there will be bench warmers, and I will make sure that they are ridiculed and told that, you are not worthy to sit at my table, but have hope, because maybe one of these schlubs sitting at my table currently will fall out of my graces and not meet some kind of a ridiculous metric that I have in my head, and then they will be relegated to the bench or completely banished, and then I will bestow upon one of the schlubs sitting on the bench that, oh, you may now join my game. The most bizarre thing, and I'm not even gonna throw the person's name out there. I'm sure that most of the people here know the video that I'm talking about, and yes, just totally bizarre. Got scared there. So congrats on retirement, and I thought you were retiring as a DM. Nope. You know what? I tried, and welcome, Piotr. I hope I said that right. I tried a couple months ago, going to like playing, and there was, even though my DM was actually, he was really good. He was really entertaining, and I enjoyed playing in his game. I just wasn't getting what I hoped to get out of the experience. And even though I liked it, my character too, I was, really into it. I was playing a lawful good cleric, and I've never played a lawful good cleric, and I thought I had a really good character concept. I was enjoying it. His deity was like a deity of justice, and so I kind of weighed every circumstance that they were going into on kind of like the justice scale. And yeah, I really liked it. But then we changed game systems and kind of carried the characters over to the new game system. And I just didn't like I didn't feel he was still a cleric. It didn't feel the same. It wasn't, it was very lackluster as far as that, for that character type, that I was like, damn, I wish I was just something more like a thief or a fighter, because their skills are just much more direct. There weren't enough spells and types of spells for a cleric, and I'm sure for a magic user as well. So yeah, it just didn't work out. And then I was like, you know what, I just go back to DMing and kind of stay there. I think I'm the forever DM, which I've bought into. I'm fine with that. Yes, I am currently on Discord. And yeah. So just send me a PM in Discord, and I will send you an invite if you want to jump in, and or I'll just send you an invite to the game on Discord. Let's continue going. What? No long rest and 100% wheel? Lol. No long rest, no short rest. And I detailed on one of the posts there, I think in response to yours, it was on Shoner's video, where I posted like, if you go down to like if you lose 50% of your maximum hit points in one strike, you have to make a system shock check in order to resist dying. And that was one of my players had, reminded me of that, and actually asked, hey, can we use this? So he really wanted to up the possibility of character death. We've had now 10 very close calls, but none of the main PCs have died in this campaign. So in 48 sessions, and like I said, very, very close calls, multiple characters, actually, very, very close calls. We had a call lightning spell, which took out like 12 NPCs, all of their henchmen, basically, and nearly killed 3 of the player characters. So it was, they're now in that level band of, between 5 and 7, and actually they're moving up to the upper portion of 7. So they might actually jump into the next season and the next level band fairly soon, and their challenges are growing as they're going forward. And even though they're gaining power, the amount of damage that some of the creatures that they're going to be facing will exceed, a good portion, like certainly half their hit points, in some cases with some spells and some strikes. So, they encountered an ice storm that was 10d6 damage. All right, could have very easily killed most of the party members. Most of the party members have less than 40 hit points. So it was, could certainly be something that deals out a lot of damage and start losing player characters. Hello, Basic Expert. Greetings all. Can hang out too long, but want to say hello. Well, hello to you, and thanks for popping in. I noticed you did something on Legacy, on Kyle's channel, so I wanted to catch that. I haven't bounced around to that channel in a little while. I have a lot of channels that I follow, so. But yeah, definitely going to check out your interview with him probably later on this evening. Hello, Green Apple. I can barely make out that thing. Looks like a clapping hand with tears. I don't know. So let's see. Hello there, Dueling Dragon Adventures. All right. Hello. I think you're a new face as well. You are a legion of idiots now and crying. I don't understand that, Max, but I guess you can do you. Let's see. Howdy, Basic. Sub to you after Max's chill stream. All right, so I'm going to have to check out Max's chill stream from last Friday. I was so busy last week, I really didn't have time to do very much. Let me check. Shadow, I still don't see anything in Discord. So when you get a chance. Sean Cherry, hello, Sean. How's it going? Yes, all the usual suspects we're seeing tonight. Let's see what Sean. Same here. If I had more than one game, they would have to be different systems to keep me interested. Yeah, I tried doing a D&D hex crawl and using the the West Marches and random encounters and just kind of trying to generate multiple stories, and directions that they could travel in and everything. And I think I was using just I was using Swords and Wizardry, which is basically a basic D&D, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it and keep it fresh for myself. We only did like 2 sessions. It was just a testing the waters to see how I like that kind of way of doing it, and it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough to keep me interested in that kind of a play style. And it might have also had a lot to do with the fact that it's a very similar system to D&D, and so that's why I lost interest in it pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm the same way. It's got to be different systems, otherwise it'd be hard to keep my interest going. 3 campaigns I want to run, but I'm not sure which ones I'll actually get players for. Traveler, AD&D, and Gamma World. Well, Shona will probably know most about Traveler and running Traveler campaigns. AD&D, I just love it. Gamma World, you might get, people probably draw more people to Gamma World than AD&D or Traveler because there's not that many people that run it. And so you might actually attract some people to it, more so than you would an AD&D game. Which I don't have a problem bringing people to it, but yeah, Gamma World might be a cool one to do. You retired at 50, turned 51 a week later. It's great. Yeah, so I hope so. I hope that it's it'll be fun. RPG Archivist, greetings, welcome. Why has no one ever tried to reboot Star Frontiers? Well, there is Frontier Space, which is basically it's the logical extension of Star Frontiers. At least that's how a lot of people have described it. Um, Bottom line is, it hasn't been rebooted because TSR, when they sold off to Wizards of the Coast, Wizards of the Coast has no desire to carry any other of the IPs because they they have their hands full, I guess, with both 5e, and they don't want anything to compete with 5e. And of course, their real moneymaker is Magic the Gathering, which they're really not the same game or anything. I know they keep on talking about, oh, we can cross over this or that, but it's not, it's not remotely the same kind of game, and I think it attracts two different types of players. Um, I don't know very many people that play both, to be honest with you. But I don't know very many personally. I don't know very many Magic the Gathering players at all. So I really can't talk too much about that. But yeah, they're just willing to sit on those IPs of all the former TRS stuff, even though they own it. They'll make a bad scan and put it out there on drive through, but other than that, they're not going to dedicate any time or money to advancing them and even selling them, even if they can make a profit. I think they're afraid to do anything that will reduce 5e's market share. What happened to Max? I don't know. Has he dropped out? Maybe. He does live streams too, so it might be time coming up. Let's see. Let's see. I might have skipped a few here. Favorite character I've played in recent years was for a 5e game where I was spellcasting rogue, pretending to be a pretentious cleric. For the short campaign was fun. Even annoyed myself. Well, starting a Beckby campaign for my 5e mate soon. For the younger only 5e players, finding it difficult to explain. The appeal of the lethality of older game isn't about characters dying. I think the best way to sell the appeal of Beckby to the to new players is the fact that when you have such a simple system of character generation, and they have to think beyond the character sheet. So if you have two fighters, even if you have two fighters with the same stats, they're not going to play the same way because they might make a choice. Like one will say, well, I'm going to be a fighter and I'm going to carry a long sword and a shield, right? The other one might say, well, I'm going to carry a hand axe, or another might say, I'm going to carry a shield and a spear. They start to differentiate their characters even when they're very basic character system, very basic number of abilities and traits or whatever, and it forces you to role play more. I think older editions forced you to role play beyond what the character sheet said because the characters were much simpler. Now I see. I was watching a stream where Luke Gygax was playing a character, and he was like buried in the book, I think, just trying to figure out what his character actually does. I don't think Luke Gygax plays very much 5e, and so, or at least he wasn't playing a character that he's familiar with, and so there's just so much on the character sheet for 5e that you can get lost in just playing the sheet instead of playing the character. But yes, surviving despite the dangers is the big thing. It's kind of like playing Call of Cthulhu, right? You have very limited number of outcomes that happen when you're playing Call of Cthulhu. You either run away, you go insane, or you die. That's pretty much it. Very, very few people, or characters, I should say, survive through the adventure. They never defeat their enemies. That's just not what Call of Cthulhu is about. But they might actually get through much of it and survive. That's the only real win condition that there is. Almost every other time, the other 90% of the time, your character is dying, going insane, or just totally ignoring and just running away right from the get-go. That's because total party is TPS, total party skills. I'm not sure, Shona. And welcome, Roll for Sanity. I've been watching some of your videos. I mean, just cracking me up with some of those reaction videos. You will probably recognize me. I'm around and was a basic stream recently. Okay. Basic stream. Yeah, I'm going to have to catch some of his streams. Like I said, I follow so many that it's hard to keep track of all of them. John Scott. Hey, how's it going? Hi from Facebook jail. And Facebook, man, you end up in Facebook jail all the time. I am really jealous. I think one time I got a 12-hour Twitter lockup, and that was it. It was like 12 hours. I've never been banned from Facebook, and I could be a real troll, in some places where I go. So that's it's just shocking that I've never gotten it. So yes, you are truly a champion. There's a few of you out there that I follow and know, and multiple timeouts from Facebook. Basic extras, I'm going to be talking about it tomorrow since you did a really good video on the subject. If you have time, you're welcome to join in and talk. Yes. Yeah, so I will have time, Max, to pop in your stream tomorrow as well. How do I find you on Discord? Shadow, I thought you had me on Discord. So let me see what I could do here. You know what? I'm just going to put if anyone wants to jump in, I am going to put this out there, and I'm going to put this in chat. So if anyone wants to jump in, here we go. I could take up to 10 people, I believe. Let's see. Let's catch up here. Hostile marketing. So I actually did a review of Vedra Satanis's, the Crystal Rainbow Utopia. And I have more of a feeling that they banned that project based on what he had previously released, and the fact that they told him what he would need to do in order to get the initial one, the Good Samaritan, put back on, and he chose not to, which I completely respect. Hey guys. So I can. Yay, how's it going? So I completely respect his decision not to alter his his original project and appease what they were looking for. So he just let it off and kept it off. And then when he came up with his next project, I think they were just waiting for it. And when he put it out there, I don't think that they got past very much of it at all, because, even though I kind of did a spoiler-free presentation of it, there was a few things that I found I was like, oh, that's a little bit more, over the top than I would have done. But it was, from what I understand, it was in the adults section of Drive-Thru RPG. If that was put in the regular section, then I'd absolutely agree. They should remove it and tell them to put it in the proper place, or this is just not something that we want to put out there. But that being said, I guarantee there's worse stuff than that on Drive-Thru and in other places as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hello, Shoner.
Hey, what's happening, Shoner?
All right, so let me get caught up here. So we're looking to do some. There's not a reboot of Star Frontiers, but there's a good successor called Frontier Space. Yeah, that's absolutely out there, and obviously it has different creatures, but it also has a modern, more modern, game system and everything. So that's pretty cool. And we have Sean. See, we're getting a lot of people in now. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, man?
How's it going? So yeah, I'm just shooting the breeze and kind of celebrating my last day of being employed, and then retired as of tomorrow, and just just looking forward to doing much more with different game systems. I do have to get around to finishing up my reading of Traveler and try to figure out whether or not that's something that I'll probably just end up reading it and not ever playing it or ever running it. But I would jump in on Shoner's game, but I would be afraid. I might need more than 35 minutes of instruction on how to role play, but or maybe not. I don't know. But
I think you and me both, man.
Well, I wouldn't want to get moved to the B team.
Yes, I would be on the B team or
B team if we're lucky.
I wonder what the C team looks like. What do you have to be on the C team for? That's the concept that got kicked off completely. It's like,
and you have to wait 7 sessions to find out if you're going to get relegated.
My question:
what kind of horseshit is that?
I asked. I was like, does he wait for you to come to the house on the 8th session only to be told that you've been banned?
Yes, he's like, hey, dude, here's your social score. You're not doing so hot. You're out.
Yeah.
He's got to rent a place because I'm sure he lets no one into his house.
No. I believe he does play in his house because if you go back to those Nerdarchy videos, I believe that's in his house. Although who knows, he might run his games from the backseat of his car.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing out on this joke.
Well, good on him. That he's got so many players that he's got a backup group of players waiting around to play in his game. So that's pretty good, actually.
So let's see. It says it seems like they would be lose the IP if they don't republish every once in a while. Nope. You can sit on an IP, and probably others can probably tell me better, but it's got to be something like decades, because these are IPs that have been dead for decades. So it's got to be like something like regular print, which is like 75 years, right? Before something becomes public domain.
I remember somebody releasing. There was a Star Frontiers online group, and they had a web page, and they actually got permission from Wizards about 15 years ago or more to actually publish everything, put everything up on their website for free. And
Yeah.
Wizards was okay with it.
Yeah, that was Star Frontiers Alive and Well.
Yeah.
Run by Tom Stevens. They did an awesome job. They ran their own magazine. They, created some of their own scenarios and everything. None of it was for sale. You know what I'm saying? So none of it was generating an income from it. So that's one of the things that was probably the reason why Wizards of the Coast didn't mind so much. But it wasn't until other groups tried to move in on it that they started to lock it down more so. And that's when they told them that they had to stop putting out, copies of the Star Frontier stuff that was already there. And they had to conform more towards, the SDR and other, other things. They had to stay away from the trademark names and, logos and all that stuff. They could still run their Star Frontiers Explorer, but they couldn't do any of the other stuff any longer. But like I said, that I'm sure there are others that know it much better than I do, how that was actually able to go. I mean, they didn't mind when TSR was being used for Top Secret New World Order. It wasn't until, the recent stupidity that, made them kind of lock down, and now they're trying to sue the new TSR to get back to trademark, and they'll probably win.
How old is Top Secret New World Order?
About 5-6 years.
Really? I'm gonna have to look into that. I love the original.
I think it's about 5-6 years. I think it came out when I think Jason Elliott came out with it, and again, I'm not that familiar with the timeline of it. When Dragon Magazine was shut down, I'm sorry, not Dragon. When Gygax Magazine was shut down because of that lawsuit, I think that's when Jason Elliott went with New World Order.
I really enjoyed the second edition of Top Secret a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I played it way back in the way my group played in the 70s and 80s was we tried a few different game systems within each of the genres, and once we found one that we liked, we just stuck with it.
Yeah, same.
So fantasy, we were just Dungeons and Dragons. Call of Cthulhu was its own thing. Nothing we even looked to do other than Call of Cthulhu. When we did our superheroes, we tried Villains and Vigilantes, we tried Heroes,
D&V was awesome.
we tried Champions, and we settled on Villains and Vigilantes. Never tried
Good for you.
Marvel, TSR's Marvel at the time. What else did we do? So our spy one became James Bond 007 Victory Games. Loved that game. Just really captured the idea, the sense of playing in the movie, so worked out perfectly for us.
It was a good game.
Yeah. I actually have those behind me too. I picked up all of those. I was like, oh, let me get these. I actually never owned it, but we played it. My friend Adam was our GM for that. Let's see. They were 100% waiting for it. No one over there ever even read it. Oh, I guess so. Let's see. Congrats on your retirement. Thank you, John Scott. Not Rich. Hey. So Not Rich is going to be in our Star Frontiers campaign. So really looking for that DF team reporting for duty. Yes. Yeah. Nope. You're on the A-team second squad. All right. So yeah.
Bench warmers.
No, it's not quite a bench warmer. That's like you have one foot on the court. You're just ready to come in. So like in like soccer, you're definitely coming in at some point during the game.
Everybody
Okay.
plays.
Yeah, everybody plays. Yeah.
So
So-
Bloodworth, I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that channel? The guy's channel is called the Tabletop Tap Room.
Yes, that is. I'm going to forget his. He goes by the name Jedion or some.
Yeah. He's
Thomas.
French something.
Thomas. Yeah.
He's been going after whoever's making the new edition of Star Frontiers, the Genesis people. Have you heard about that edition of the game?
Yes, I did. You know what? I am going to reveal that I was reading through. I had in my hand the NDA and the freelance writers agreement to actually work on that game. All right, and after reading the NDA and the thing, it was legalese, and I'm not not unfamiliar with reading legal documents. I mean, I've done arbitration, I've done those kinds of things, but when I was reading it, I was like, it just came off like a scam. It was like even worse so than most legalese. I'm sitting there, I was like, you know what? And I was just on the edge, and then not more than like 2 weeks later, that's when Johnson had that big blow up, and and I guess he is the lead writer of that. And I was like, thank God I dodged the bullet. And I was actually talking to Tenkar about it, and he was like, yeah, you definitely dodged the bullet. Plus, they're in the midst of a lawsuit. So why the hell would you want to jump in on something that could lose its trademark, and everybody associated with it gets sued by Hasbro, or Wizards of the Coast? So I wouldn't touch it.
I didn't know if books were printed and they're just not being shipped, or
no. Those are not printed. Never have been, and because we would have seen something by now. So
Exactly.
yeah, I can't imagine that those were ever printed. And I mean, how silly is it that you wouldn't have just taken that system and just said, you know what, I'm going to make a BX version of Star Frontiers. I mean, Mark Hunt did that with Gangbusters, had no problem whatsoever, because he did it within the SDR and he did it within OGL, and there's nothing you can do. Now he has to put the accreditation, to Wizards of the Coast, because he's using the OGL to do it. But as long as he calls it Gangbusters BX, he was able to produce it, and it's a great game. All right, it runs really well. They could have done the same darn thing with Star Frontiers if they had half the brains to do it.
You talking about, what's his name? David, you said?
No,
Who's
Dave Johnson. Dave Johnson.
He did Gangbusters?
No, Mark Hunt did Gangbusters.
Oh, that's right, Mark Hunt. Okay.
Yeah, Mark Hunt did Gangbusters, and
I was trying to remember
did a
who
Western.
That was like 10 years ago, right? He was working on that
Gangbusters?
like 10. Yeah, he was working on that like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it only came out. I mean, I think it only came out a few years ago. Let me see.
I'm sure it's got like tons of modules for it.
No, he doesn't.
Or cards.
I mean,
Does
he has
cards?
He has some things. Let's see. When was this? This was the first printing, 2019. So
Wow.
There it is. 2019, first printing. So
Oh,
yeah, not that.
maybe he had PDFs earlier then.
No, he might have. Yeah.
Because he was part of the RPG brigade back in the day.
Oh, was he? Yeah. He's a great guy. He's a really, really cool guy, interesting guy. He does North Texas. I want to say he's a retired police officer, or maybe a sheriff or something like that.
So can anyone make a game called Star Frontiers, or is that name trademarked or owned by somebody?
It's currently trademarked. It's currently trademarked, but that's what they're disputing over. Is Star Frontiers Lanasa was able to grab the name Star Frontiers, so it might have lapsed. It might not have had, just like they did with TSR. It might have lapsed, and they were able to snatch it.
I would like for somebody to snatch up Universe, because TSR bought SPI and got all their stuff, and
that'd be
Universe
cool.
was one of them.
Yeah,
Dragon Quest was one of them.
Like I said, TSR is going to sit on all of those things
Yeah.
because they don't want any competition for 5e. You know,
That's true. Well, that
they
was
just-
one reason why they bought the stuff.
yeah, and yeah, they bought it and they shelved it. You know,
Well, you know,
because-
IBM would buy stuff and then shelve it. Microsoft would buy stuff and shelve it.
yeah, that's just you.
They
just
started
put it
all
away
this stuff
forever.
back in D20 days. They wanted to
Yeah.
hold on to stuff because they wanted everything under D20. Everything.
Bill Cosby bought the Little Rascals to shelve it.
Yipes. I remember when Michael Jackson bought the Beatles.
Mhm.
And Paul McCartney, I think, got it back, but he spent a fortune to get back his
Yeah.
own songs from Sony.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at, well, all the Gygax name is up in the air because it's all within the family that they're fighting over that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
but it's amazing that, like, you know, a Luke Gygax or an Ernie Gygax can't produce anything with their own last name, you know, attached to it, which is
I don't think
That's
that's
bizarre.
that's not going to fly in court.
Well, isn't Gygax trademarked?
Yeah, Gygax is trademarked. That's why they had to give up Gygax magazine because
Wow.
the widowed, second wife sued him over that.
Like I'm guessing Tolkien is probably trademarked too.
Well, yeah, it's probably under because it followed along with the son, right? So I would assume that Christopher Tolkien kept it going, and I guess as long as he was adding to the IP with his stories, that it doesn't actually become public domain unless they
sense.
sell the rights to it.
Like H. Beam Piper, he had no kids, I don't think. So all of his stuff is public domain now.
H.P. Lovecraft, you mean?
No, H.
No.
Beam Piper.
Oh, H.P. Oh, all right.
Back in the 50s, he was writing the sci-fi. He never was famous until years after his stuff made it. I guess his books were published after he died.
Was that the Little Fuzzies guy?
Yeah.
Wow, I actually just found those books the other day in Goodwill. I picked up 2 of them.
All right.
There's like hundreds of thousands of free prints you can get. People get the PDFs from the museum. I forget the name of the museum, but you download the PDFs from there or whatever, and you can reprint the thing on Amazon or Lulu. Sell it with a different art cover.
Yeah.
So no one owns that stuff. And you can do an audiobook and post it on YouTube, and no one will complain because no one owns any of those books.
Yeah. I used to get all the audios of like H.P. Lovecraft's short stories on LibriVox. Used to
Same.
get those. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the LibriVox ones the best. They're the best recordings from people who know how to read.
Yeah.
They have professional recordings and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, those
But
are amazing.
That's all volunteers. That's all volunteer stuff.
Yeah, and that's partly why they don't run into problems, but everything that they do is public domain. You're going to see Robert E. Howard, you'll see H.P. Lovecraft, you'll see anybody, Edgar Rice Burroughs, anybody that's been dead for 75 plus years, they'll have it out there.
I don't think all of H.P. Lovecraft's stuff is open domain, though. I think anything he collaborated with is still on lockdown, like all the Derleth stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's not, that's like the pastiches from Robert E. Howard stuff, like the Conan stories, whether it be Robert Jordan or Elsbrog de Camp, those are still locked under the same thing. You have to wait till, those guys have been gone for 75 years before that opens up. Not that you would want to, but,
Well, just hope that Disney never buys H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
Oh dear God,
God.
that would be a that would be a living nightmare.
It's already getting pretty bad. It's getting close.
Have you seen the starter kit for the latest starter kit that came out for Call of Cthulhu? It's got people in the game that did not exist when H.P. Lovecraft was writing those stories. You'll see when you look at the character sheets, you're like, what is this? What's going on here?
I've seen some of the cartoons. The cartoons aren't terrible.
Yeah,
they have a few
and it does have
there.
it does have a cartoony look too to the artwork. It's not. I like the more serious artwork where they're blending photographs with watercolor type paintings. It's kind of cool. But when you start seeing the weird colors going on with the weird cartoony look, Toonville or it starts looking like Toontown. That's when you run away from the game.
Absolutely.
They've got to appeal to a newer generation of people.
Yeah.
A generation that can't read.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't read and they don't care about the stuff anyway.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try to appeal to those people.
Well, they think, Hollywood and Disney and the other one, they all think that old people like us are just dying off and no one's interested in this stuff anymore. But we had kids, right? The kids still want to play this stuff, right?
Yeah.
My son's a perfect example, guys.
Why aren't they selling to the kids, Marty? Why aren't they selling to the kids? They're selling to these weirdos who parents never even played this stuff. They're raised by phones.
They don't buy the stuff. I was telling earlier before you came on, I gave some of my 5e things, actually, one of my hardcover 5es to my niece. All right. So she's college age. She's 24 years old. And she played when she was in college. And not one of them had any hardcover. They had one copy of a PDF, and they ran off copies of it and shared it across the table.
Yeah.
She said nobody in any of the groups that she, had encountered, not one group had the hardcover books. All they had was these Xerox copies of the PDF that they just shared. And that's the real thing. If you look at the numbers, and I know the OGGM about a year ago, because he's a Hasbro shareholder, so I guess he gets inside,
the
information.
OGGM is?
Yes, he owns 10 shares of Hasbro stock. So that gives him, access to their reports and everything. And I believe he was saying that so the estimate has always been that there's about 8 to 12 million 5e players. All right. Because again, Wizards of the Coast, they only make one RPG. So 8 to 12 million 5e players. And in 2019 to 20, they 5e made, or Dungeons and Dragons made $110 million. All right. So meanwhile, Magic the Gathering made about $900 million. Same year. So 110 million, and then there are other board games and everything amounted to like another 400 million. So that means that only like 7% of the 5e players actually buy anything in any given year. All right. It's like, if you have...
Well, the DMs are going to buy the books.
Yeah, that's really the only person that needs to.
And that's it. Yeah.
And with card games, everyone has to have cards.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And they change the rules every year, so you can't use cards. You got to cycle them out.
Right. So that's their real cash cow. I bet you if you had somebody that came in like an Elon Musk and said, "Hey, I'll give you 300 million for Dungeons and Dragons," they'd probably sell. All right, they would probably sell it because it's
Just because Hasbro doesn't want to be in the book business.
oh well that too, because they were having a hard enough time back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago. They were having a hard time with their card stock coming out of China. And the cards were, as soon as you took them out of the pack, they were bowing, and it was just bad quality stuff. I hear a lot of people saying, like, I never open up my 5e books, but I hear that their binding is actually terrible, that falls apart. I have 40-year-old first edition books that are pretty darn solid.
I can attest
what
to
I'm
that.
saying?
The 5e books is very
Same here.
poorly made.
Same here.
Yeah.
Except Unearthed Arcana and Oriental Adventures. Those books were crap. They fell apart the minute I got them.
Mine are still in good shape.
Yeah, mine are still in good
You're
shape.
a lucky guy.
Well, you know what? Granted, I didn't use Unearthed Arcana very much, so.
Oh,
maybe I
man,
was
we
just
used the hell out of that book. We loved that book. And Oriental Adventures, too. That book was super popular in my group.
Yeah, that was really popular back in the day. More so than Unearthed Arcana. But we used most of the stuff out of Unearthed Arcana when it was in Dragon magazines.
Right.
So we're using it beforehand.
But back in my day, which was the late 70s, early 80s, at the game shop I worked at, everybody had photocopies of everything. That was just, mind you, I was 14 and everybody else there was in their 20s to 50s, college, etc. And everybody photocopied everything from the original, white box set, Arduin, all that. Everything was just everybody. I didn't know what a photocopy machine was. I was 14, except the ones that you put like a dime in at the grocery store. We couldn't afford that. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yes, Unearthed Arcana had Cavaliers, and hello, Goldie. Welcome. Another new name. They had Cavaliers, Barbarians, and Thief Acrobats.
Love that book. Still do. I had to get a drive-through edition of it, and it was good. Same with the Rules Cyclopedia, which I never use. But they put out some good stuff. It's really a shame that they're going down the route that they're going. I was thinking about buying some Gamma World reprints and things like that for my groups, and I'm like, guess not. I guess I'll look on eBay.
Yeah, if I know Goldie had mentioned about trying to get the box sets, but they're expensive.
Right.
I decided to just get the from eBay, just get the Beck Me books, and I paid about $20. $20 per set. If they were like a double set, maybe 30 for the two. Like the expert set was like 30. But you can get I have them behind me. You can get them for, you can get them for $20, $30. And
well, that's now.
You don't really need the book.
September, everything will change because that's the selling season for anybody in the know. From September 15 to February 15 is when the smart people sell. Mm-hmm. And right now we're still in the time where people, right after Valentine's Day, people start selling their stuff to pay for the holidays. And that's when I buy. So right now I'm in a buy mode, but September rolls around and I will be selling all my stuff at top price because, that's what smart sellers do. So if you're going to be buying stuff off eBay, get it now or you will pay top dollar.
Yeah, I bought my Oriental Adventures just before they came out and trashed it. And as soon as they trashed it, it hit like $100. I paid about $40 for mine. So it was, I don't think I paid more than $50 on any hardcover for first edition, with the exception of my two deities and demigods. My 144 pager, I paid $124.
That's the holy grail of D&D books right now.
Yeah, and that was a steal at 120. And it's in
Yep.
decent condition too for 120. And then the regular one I got for like 60. Yeah, so and that was a swap out. I unfortunately bought Legends and Lore, and then I was like, oh, I really do want Deities and Demigods. So I sold the Legends and Lore, picked up the Deities and Demigod gods, and then so now I got them both. So I have a complete collection.
I still got the Deities and Demigods, the original one.
It's
in
yeah,
a box
mine too. It's all taped up, but I wouldn't sell it for anything.
Yeah,
mine's perfect. It's in a box in the garage.
Be careful, man.
Along with my Manual of the Planes, which was really expensive, like 20 years ago, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Now my white box was probably the thing I spent the most money on, as far as RPG stuff is concerned, and that and then still I got that for $550. All right, the 3 books and the box. The box is kind of the box itself looks intact, but it just splits on the
right. I have my original from back in the day, and it looks like garbage.
Yeah,
still wouldn't part with it for anything.
But it's hard to find them for less than 800. So when I saw it for that, I was like, bang. The most expensive books I ever bought were actually not RPG stuff, and I got them at a steal too, or at least what I considered a steal was I got the Conan books that were put out by Wandering Star. So sealed copies. They were very limited run, coming out of England, and they were normally on eBay for like 12 and change, $1,200 for the set of 3. And when I spotted them for, $200 a book, I jumped on them, and it was like, I didn't even get any pushback from my wife, which I was shocked, but I was like, nope, I showed her the price before and showed it afterwards. And she says, go ahead, and bang.
$800 on eBay.
For what?
That is so much money.
For the white box?
Yep. No, for Conan of Samaria 2 hardcover Ultra edition. And then there's the complete another one for $350.
Yeah.
These are the Wandering Star prints.
Yeah, I got them for $200 each.
Just wait till after Valentine's Day, guys. Right after Valentine's Day, this coming year, that's when I'll grab myself a copy of the white box. I'll wait a little bit, but trust me, the prices after this holiday, people will be dumping all kinds of cool stuff. It always happens every year. Mm-hmm. This year won't be any different, and I won't tell my wife a goddamn thing.
So I guess each book comes in a box.
Yeah, they come in. It depends.
The signed ones came in a box.
Yeah, I think they are in sleeves. Yes, and then they have a dust cover, and they're in a box.
Yeah, they would.
Well, you better get at least that if you're paying $200 for them.
Yeah. No, mine came sealed, and what makes them so expensive is that they have the art plates by Gianni. Oh God, I'm forgetting his name right now. Great artist, and they have the plates. So they have the plates where they have to put the
Gary Gianni.
Gary Gianni. Yeah.
Hey gents, I got to hit the road. I got a show to do with Table Breakers, but I'll see you guys all later.
Have a good one.
We'll hook up. We'll hook up. You two guys. We'll hook up so we can get my character started because.
Yep.
I got some boning up to do to run a magic user. Is it gonna be first level?
No, we won't bring him in at first level. He'll die.
Okay, if you want, you can. If you want, you can roll up everything. I'll
let you roll it up. I'll let you roll it up. I'll just I'll shoot you a message and give you the link for the group. Actually, let me throw the link up in here for my Discord.
Oh, Watch out for them relegated people.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You can put it up in private chat.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
can put it up in
reference.
private.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm on
I'm not
I'm on
familiar.
Discord as Shadow and Sun. Should be easy to find.
Okay.
If it's not. Yeah,
I will do that. I will do Shadow and Sun. I'll send you something I'll send out to you in Discord. All right,
Appreciate
won't
it,
do that
guys.
now.
I like
Not a
this
problem.
who's the naked
Ooh.
HD?
Ooh, I'm on that. Let's
The
go.
Naked HD.
All right, guys. I got to run. Thanks again for
Have a
everything.
good one.
I'll see you guys later. And if you catch Max's chill stream, we're gonna ambush my son with a birthday song. So if any of you guys want to come in and sing, that'd be freaking fabulous. He has no idea it's coming, and we're all gonna sing happy birthday to him because he's turning the big 14, and he watches all of you guys with me. So I can't wait to see him turn 99 shades of red.
Okay, cool. All right, you have
All
a
right,
good
guys.
one.
You too, man. Thanks for everything. Bye, guys.
Bye.
So yeah,
Oh, I've seen white box higher than that, but yes, it goes. It's usually like you can get the complete one in decent condition for like 9, but it's rare to find them like that.
I would never do that. I
Likes
could
for
buy
the
a really
algorithm.
nice
I'm
gun
getting
for
ready to start our
$2,500.
stream.
yeah. You
Have
could
one.
buy any number of things
Yep.
for $2,500.
Yeah,
I think the
Yeah.
most I've spent on a single book is maybe 70 or 80 on Red Markets for the Kickstarter when it came out.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering how many sex tapes you can get.
You got to kick Shadow off.
Oh, all right. Let's see.
He just walked away from his thing.
There you
Oh,
go.
there he goes. All right. Yes, $2,500. I wonder how much sex dates you can get for that.
The most I'll spend on anything from eBay is $100.
Right.
I won't give eBay more than $100. If it costs more
I don't know
than
if
that,
I
I
would
really
do
need
even
it.
that for like one thing, for like one book. I wouldn't spend like that much money.
No, the only book that I've ever spent, other than the white box itself and the 3 books that came with that, the only book I ever spent more than 100 on eBay for was the Deities and Demigods 144 page. That's the only one.
I mean, I've spent a pretty penny on books, but normally it's like a set of things. Like Mongoose Traveler First Edition, they were doing some reprints for a while, and I bought like 25, 30 books. And like altogether, they're pretty expensive. But individually, they're relatively cheap.
Yeah, my Traveler First Edition books ran me about $20 a piece.
Yeah, that's normal for a staple book.
Yeah, about $15 to $20 a piece, on average. I believe I have 0 through 13. I think there's a couple more that I still have to, try to get a hold of. But
it was weird how Mark Miller did reprints of those books in landscape. He did landscape instead of portrait. So you're reading 2 pages at a time. It's very strange.
Yeah, I didn't get those
very well either.
I feel like he's kind of a weird dude.
He could have just zoomed in on each page and just done a portrait book.
I think I got all the supplements.
But then maybe he was trying to keep the books from being 500 pages. They were only 200 pages. I don't know.
Or maybe the source material he was referencing, he couldn't modify it, like whatever the original file was that he was printing off of.
300 quid. How much is 300 quid? I guess that's
money.
That's a pound,
money.
right? Yeah, it's fake money.
That's a lot of money for a Holmes edition dice, which were trash. I don't even know. Mine disappeared a long time ago.
I actually have mine.
That was my first D&D.
Are those the plastic
brand
ones
new.
That? Yeah,
are
that's
those
the ones that
dice
get
the corners get rounded off when you use them.
My D4 lasted out at the longest.
I threw mine away the minute they started smoothing on the corners. I tossed them. I went to like the most expensive game shop in town and got the as soon as I heard of, was it Chessex or something, I bought those. They're already
my first
corners.
dice set was Chessex.
Mine were Chessex or Zaki. I can't remember which. So.
Yeah,
But
Goldie, I took care of it.
They were already rounded, so they don't get rounded anymore. I guess. I don't know. And they're
I think the
numbered, right?
numbers are more random if they're sharper, though.
That's the first time I've seen the sex bot. So, but it is now banned. So.
And I
In
didn't
real
know
life?
I didn't know Tinder was overpriced.
No, I was warning you not to get the overpriced ones. These are the second tier. These are the B
Yeah,
team.
these are the relegated ones.
It's the B team.
They've been relegated. To the
I'll give you a call later.
They've been relegated to my live stream.
That reminds me, I need to go check his channel out again to see what else he's been saying.
Oh my God.
That was a weird video he did.
Aren't
No,
they
that
all?
that was
Aren't
super
they all?
kooky. That was super
It wasn't.
kooky.
It wasn't
keep
political.
referencing, but I don't know what it is.
I stay away from his political videos, but that one was more about how he runs a game or how he's planning to do a game.
Yeah.
It was game related, at least.
Yeah, the only time I've ever actually seen him run a game was on your channel when you did that one when he was doing Star Wars.
Well, he used to have a
back with
channel.
Nerdarchy. Yeah, when he was still with Nerdarchy.
Yeah.
And he ran that Star Wars game. And I remember when like all the players were on all the characters were on the shuttle, and then all of a sudden they were in front of the place. They never got a chance to get off the shuttle, explain what they were doing, how they got over to this. They knew about some hill tribe that was off in the distance, and they knew every detail about this hill tribe without everything was just rolled out for them and just explained to them everything going on. There was no decision making by the players at all. Everything was just fed to them.
He ran games like a Disney theme park ride. You sit in the chair, and the Disney narrator, storyteller, is in the speakers on both sides of the chair as you go through the haunted house. And you're like, ooh, tell me more, storyteller. Tell me more. And then you get to see the encounters, and you go through them, and now you're here. And
and so
I wish I understood the context, but it feels like we're just playing the pronoun game here.
But if you ask the right kind of question during a game, he'll give you XP for that.
Yeah. Oh, this is another YouTuber, J. Scott Garibay, who does a lot of he almost does exclusively 5e content, and he has these very grandiose views of 5e and Dungeons and Dragons in general, and Gary Gygax, as being this almost like a spiritual leader, in a sense of he didn't create a game, he created a lifestyle. So he buys into that lifestyle.
He's the great leader from Sleeper,
and Matt Mercer's side post.
that Woody Allen movie, and no one's ever seen the great leader, and then they kidnapped his nose or something.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna blow it up. Yeah. Remember, he had it underneath his mask.
Yeah. That's all that was left of the leader was this guy's nose. But Scott Garibay used to have other games on his channel, but I guess he cleansed his channel, so it's only D&D 5e stuff.
Yeah, I think it's whatever. I think when he came on to it, and he shifted from being a political channel, Andrew Yang during, I guess, the 2016, then he shifted over to 5e because that's where the numbers game was as far as YouTube channels. So it's all about the numbers, and that's the other thing. That's why, when we were talking and going on, because I've had him on my channel and interviewed him and everything. And that's when I really thought of it's the McDonald's hamburger analogy that I make. Everybody knows it, but no one, if they had a choice, would choose it. All right. It is not, no one thinks that it's the best hamburger. I mean, you're seriously twisted. If you think burger? The McDonald's, the regular McDonald's hamburger,
so the quarter pounder, because the quarter pounder is
not the quarter pounder one, the regular McDonald's hamburger. So the really thin, paper thin
number
one
that
looks like someone
number one
stomped
on the
on
menu.
it. Yes, the regular
Number
one,
one
even if
value
you
meal.
had the cheese on it, so that is 5e in my analogy. Everybody knows it.
It's good.
Very
It's
easy
nice
to
and
get.
salty. It's greasy, salty, but
Yeah,
after a while, after 20 minutes, you're hungry again.
and no one would choose it as their burger of choice. You play any other fantasy role-playing game, and you're going to have a better experience than you will with 5e.
Well, let me
Right,
play devil's advocate here, right? I think.
One E is like a steak burger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you guys have a different experience with role playing games, right? Like 5e, like D&D is hip now. Being nerdy is slowly trended up to being cool again, and it's cycled back around. And like 5e is at the top of that tower, precisely because of its integration into like media and stuff like that. Especially when like kids these days are growing up watching stuff like Critical Role or what have you, right? So to them, they might have the rose-scented goggles on. They might see 5e is the best because it's their first.
Yeah, I mean, although I don't think that I mean, I have teenage daughters, and 17 and 20 years old. So they've been around, so they were even younger teens when in 2015, or when Stranger Things first came out, and everybody points, oh, it's Stranger Things. Stranger Things appeals to the new crowd, and they're going to connect to Dungeons and Dragons because of that. It's absolutely not the case. All right.
I don't think Stranger Things really has as much of a market share as something like Critical Role.
No, but Critical Role is appealing to college age. It's not grabbing your 12 to 17-year-olds.
Almost everybody I run into that likes Critical Role is a child.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. It's overwhelming.
I think it's more college age, 18 to 22.
I'm not saying it doesn't also tap into that market, but I think the production value is very high, and like the voice acting, and like everybody is like type of person you see on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. It appeals to a broader audience.
My kids don't even know it exists, and
they
watch. And they watch Stranger.
Yeah,
they watch Stranger Things because of the boys. They don't watch it at all for its D&D or even its story. They just watching it for the boys. That's
the boys.
Yeah, the boys.
The boys.
The characters on the show.
No, the actual actors. It's like
I've never seen the show, and I know what the boys is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to get context here. Your children watch Stranger Things for the boy actors in the show.
Yeah, the boy actors.
Okay, well, I imagine if they're like having those kind of feelings, like crushing on the actors from the TV show, they're totally willing to crush on Matt Mercer or the guy who does Grog's voice or whatever.
No, they're old guys. they're too old. It's these boys are their same age. You know what I'm saying? So like my daughter was crazy for Gotham. All right. Actually, we went to a Comic-Con, and she met David Mazouz. Took a picture with him, stood online to meet with him, took an individual picture with him. She was swooning, watched every single season of Gotham from start to finish because of that. Then Stranger Things came out. Finn Wolfhard fan. My younger one is into what's his name? I can't think of the one that disappeared first.
I'm not familiar enough to tell you.
I forget the real kid's name. The actor's name. But crazy for they liked it because of the boys in it, the newest one. And they liked they like that. They watch movies and shows because of the kids that are in them. They don't watch them for the stories. They don't care about the IP that's behind it. That's just their, and that's the that's the TikTok, cell phone in hand, computer at the same time going. That's their generation. I tried to get them into, hey, you like Stranger Things? You want to try to play Dungeons and Dragons? The same version that they're playing, on the show. No, why would we want to do that? It's like they just want to watch the show.
What do you think of Scott Garibay saying that Matt Mercer is the
best DM in the world?
The pinnacle.
Him and the Critical Role guys are the ultimate group in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
They are the elite.
We all have to. We have to aim high.
They are the acme.
But
like, come on.
If they're the A team, then where's Scott and his group?
We all
does Scott's group have nice stage lighting with microphones and cameras and voice acting and makeup and
I doubt it.
Stage presence
and scripts written for them so they can read them. Yes,
just for his games.
And a 7-second delay and or even longer.
We all know what Critical Role's about, and we all know what Garabay's about. We all know what Scott's about.
Remember when Chris Perkins did that stuff at game conventions? Chris Perkins would show up with that Elmore guy, the artist. What was his name?
Larry Elmore. Yeah.
Yeah, he would be a player, and then someone else famous from D&D or from TSR would be a player. But Chris Perkins was the DM. And it was just goofing off, shits and giggles, entertaining the audience, laughing, not really playing the game.
Chris Perkins is a really good GM as far as I'm concerned. Much better than Matt Mercer.
He was always goofing around, though.
I think that's their dynamic, though. Their group's dynamic. Like each group has their own thing.
But the thing is, he was running joke games for an audience, is what it was.
He was running 4E.
He wasn't running a game for a group to play in.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yep. It's hard to run a game because the audience has to see what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone has to make a joke about what their character is going to do. They have the minis on the table, but the audience can't see that. So they have to speak loud so the last person in the back row can still hear what's going on.
I think it's a combination of like the entertainment value, but plus I think they're more motivated to run like a beer and pretzels type of game as opposed to like some serious like role-playing stuff.
Yeah, it's just that people on YouTube try to emulate that and they can't. They can't figure out where the magic comes from.
I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I think Chris Perkins has a lot of time. I think he's been with D&D for a long time.
I'm not one of those guys that says 5e is a bad game. It's just a freaking game. But you know what? Yeah. Everybody who's really into the newest thing, they always shit on basically all the older editions. That's the big problem, and that's been going on forever.
I find that 5e people will shit on any other role playing game that isn't D&D 5e.
Well, back in the old days, if it wasn't D&D second edition, they would shit on every other game and first edition D&D. So, or AD&D as it was. You know,
everyone likes whatever
it's always been the
newest. Whatever the newest in-print version is, that's what they like.
Right.
I remember when Traveler 5 came out, you had these guys saying, oh, I'm going to play Traveler 5. We're going to have a game. And they shit on every previous edition of Traveler. And like, really? You guys are going to actually play this game? And
I don't know if I'd ever play Traveler 5, but I definitely hear it's good for like reference material, like tables and shit.
That's what I use it for.
Tables and shit. Yeah.
I like its way of making planets and making alien races, but that's about it. Everything else I use Mongoose.
I mean, I've got the old what is it? The old Digest Group Publications World Builders Guidebook, and that does it for me. That's all I need for making worlds.
Do you do 2E or 1E?
That was for a Mega Traveler.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I was referencing your statement earlier. I know the World Builder's Guide or whatever is Mega Traveler, but you mentioned earlier that if you were going to do Traveler, you'd do Mongoose. But now there's second edition, and I was just curious if you were on that bandwagon.
I mix both together. I have all the 1E books, and they're pretty much compatible with 2E. 2E looks watered down, in my opinion, as far as the High Guard book, the Vehicle book, Robot book.
Well, I'm against it on principle. I have this curse where every time I buy a role-playing game, they immediately release another edition, rendering what I have useless. So,
Okay.
you know,
No,
when I bought
first
Mongoose First
edition
E, they
is-
dropped second edition. When I bought Unknown
Yeah.
Army second edition, they dropped Unknown Army third edition. When I bought Eclipse Phase first edition, they dropped Eclipse Phase second edition. When I bought
Yeah.
6th edition Call of Cthulhu, they
Yeah.
dropped 7th edition
Yeah.
Call of Cthulhu. And I'm getting real tired of it.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that's going to happen forever still.
Right. If you have to
publishers-
keep on the newest game, that's what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
publishers don't want to reprint old games and have to pay royalties, so they come up with a whole new printing and get cheaper artists to do the job, cheaper layout editors to do the job, and find cheaper printers, I guess. I don't know who make books. I don't
Well,
know.
you know-
I think printing's probably gone up.
I think it's cute Garibay going all off on 5th edition when here in 2 years they're going to have 6th edition. And what's he going to do? That's going to be the newest best
he's
thing.
gonna
No,
Is it-
purge-
no,
he's gonna
no, he
purge
says
his videos.
Yeah, no, he'll say that because he's corrected for that already, where he says you're following you follow and play the D&D now. So if they
Oh,
go
that's
to a
true,
new
that's true.
edition,
That's
he will immediately shift to the new edition, and
DNDN.
you'll be a scrub for playing 5e.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Bluddworth, are you going to do a show and tell with us there? I saw you got a bunch of Traveler stuff out.
yeah, I was just double checking. So I have Traveler 0 through 9. So
Okay.
I think that goes up to 13.
Classic
And-
Traveler? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's like supplement books, and there's
Yeah, I have all the supplement books up to
there's like a couple secret
well,
books.
the core rules were 0 to 3. And then you have all the supplements that are 5 through I believe 13.
Yeah, Robots is 8. I don't know what comes after
Yeah.
that. But
But yeah, I was just double
Solomani
checking to
is
see.
10, I think.
Yeah, I don't have 9 through 13. I know it goes up to 13.
Then you have the adventure books, the double adventure books,
Yeah, I have one of the double adventure books.
and then
But,
there's a book. Some of the supplemental books. There's supplemental books. They
Yeah.
came with some of the board games. So if you didn't buy a board game, you didn't get those books.
No, that's a little bit much. I still got to dig into what I'm going to do. So
I think Asante High Lightning, Shauna
Oh.
can correct me. I think it actually had one in it.
Yeah, this is what you do. Set this video to not allow anyone to post in chat until they've been a subscriber for 20 minutes.
For 20
okay.
minutes, yeah.
I'm
That's what
just
Sean does.
blocking.
You might just be letting anyone post without being a subscriber.
They only do it right after you post your link. So yeah,
Yeah. I thought if you block user, you should be able to just block the user.
Oh yeah, you did,
that's
but
what
they just show up. A new bot shows up.
Yeah.
with the same name, different user.
Yeah. So, all right, I'll have to
Cheap
fix
as
that
Tinder.
next time. Yeah, it's
Just for sex? It's only for sex.
yeah, but how come when I'm blocking this one, it doesn't disappear? Error occurred. Try refreshing the page. No, I'm not doing that. Okay. They'll get through until I
On mine,
wrap
they're
up.
hidden. They're hidden until I say, "Yay!"
Yeah.
Show yourself.
Yeah, I could
show
have done that.
yourself.
Yeah, I could have done that. So I'll make sure I do that next time. So let's see. What else do we got here? Legion of Myth. You are in denial. Clearly, Beckme is the best. That is why second edition had to rob Mystera from it. Okay. We're going to get into edition wars. Yes, 0 to
2E
13.
I'll admit, 2E had some good setting books.
It did.
I still wish, I'm kind of jealous that D&D has Dark Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
There's no Dark Sun for Traveler yet. Why not?
Oh, you could write it. It could be you.
Is there a Dark Sun for GURPS? I don't think so.
I don't know, Sean. Do you want cannibalistic halflings in your game?
I'm not a good writer, so otherwise I would have written my own for Traveler. I mean, I've converted stuff to Traveler, just my own homebrew stuff. Like, what's the game that RPG Pundit has Lion and something.
Lion and Dragon.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? Dark Albion.
Yeah, that's a setting. That's a
I converted both of
supplement.
those to Mongoose Traveler, so I can play them.
Oh, really?
Because I have no interest in D20.
Well, Sean, if you got into Crap Engine, as you call it, Cepheus Engine, they've got a lot of settings that aren't just sci-fi.
Yeah, the Clement Sector is so boring to me, though.
But that's sci-fi, Sean.
Yeah.
It's so boring. It's so
that's not their
like,
sword and sorcery setting, or their
it's
like post-apocalyptic setting.
What's the guy's name that wrote that one? I can't remember. But Clement Sector is his bag of whatever, and he wrote a setting that wouldn't be accused of copy and fridge writing on anything ever from movies or from TV, and it's just very bland, and there's nothing edgy about it.
Well, yeah, when you average everything out.
At least Trevor took ideas from early 70s sci-fi before Star Wars happened.
Max, it isn't that dumb. Come on. You got to see what people think about Earth Dawn. And I love that game.
Oh, you have to do a shot when you say Earth Dawn.
Well, see, I played AD&D because that's all I knew back in '79. And then a year or two later, I go to Kmart or Sears and they're selling these crap versions of D&D in a blue box, in a red box, and the boxes
versions of D&D.
The boxes are just made like crap. They're just folded together nonsense.
The boxes were pretty shitty.
And there's crayons in the box for the dice. I was like, what? And it's like, what? It's like, I thought TSR is just a cash cow now with D&D. It was like they went from AD&D to that. To like, what happened? But that actually sold more than AD&D did. Because it was in not Target. It was in Toys R Us, Sears, Kmart, Montgomery Ward. It was in every Sears Christmas catalog for the next 5 or 6 years. It's like, but the hardcover books, those are out of print, or they're hard to find, or mail order only. Here we got the red box and the blue box. Oh, fuck that crap.
I know when I go into I have a local game store. It's probably about 12 miles from me. That's the closest one.
Must be nice.
And I go in there, and the only thing on the shelf as far as tabletop role-playing games is 5e.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
They have 10 tables set up for gameplay. They have a calendar, with all the things filled in. Not a single 5e is going. No, it's all Magic the Gathering. Because the other 90% of the store is Magic the Gathering, Funko Pop, dolls, miniatures.
It's all pop stuff
and other stuff, but
Todd McFarlane figures.
Yeah,
that's not Warhammer.
Yeah, no, Warhammer's there too, but no.
It's that other
Warhammer
one though.
Figures, but
it's
not
the Sigma
not any games.
Not any games.
What product you can cycle? If you buy D&D 5e, you're done. The end.
Well,
but with the minis, you got to keep shifting, or cards, you got to keep cycling out.
Yeah, the thing with the 5e is, because I look at there and there's always the same exact number of books, of the same books that are on the shelf. All right, there can always be 4. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't sell them.
Yeah, I don't think they're making money off of tabletop role-playing games. They're just
not selling them. The scam is that they must.
Well, they're going hard this time.
They must. Yeah, they're gone again. The scam is that they must carry 5e if they want to sell Magic the Gathering. All right,
yeah, I would buy that. I believe that.
That's absolutely the case. That's absolutely the case. If you want,
I have no doubt that's part of the problem that Roll20 is experiencing. Right? That you'll notice on their banners and stuff, they're all selling like 5e shit. I imagine there's a contract where they have to push this stuff.
Well, I've read that Roll20 is 60% 5e. All right, the other 40%. That's why, although I just recently read someplace or that Roll20 is now looking to get attached with DM's Guild. All right, so that's probably the first step that Wizards of the Coast is going to look to buy Roll20, or at least ask. Well, actually, not Wizards of the Coast. Hasbro will buy Roll20 to give to Wizards of the Coast, because that's the next. They don't have their own. Virtual tabletop.
I have no doubt if that happens,
they're not going
to drop dead.
Yeah, they're not going to create their own, because they either don't want to put the time in, or perhaps they don't have the talent to do it. Wizards of the Coast is not a a good good programmer for creating those kinds of things. That's why they bought D&D Beyond. They didn't build that. They let somebody else build it, and then they bought it out. Same thing that they did with Sword Coast Legends, the video game. As they had another company make it. All right. As soon as the game was released, within 3 months they shut it down. All right, or they shut down all new development on it. And within a year there was no more. Multiplayer involved with it anymore. They just completely abandoned the project because the Sword Coast Legends book had run its cycle, and the Descent into Avernus had run its cycle, and so there was no reason to keep the game going anymore.
Yeah, it probably cost them more than it was making.
Yeah, because I don't think that. I mean, they literally just didn't. And it was a good game. It was a very good game. It had so many details of it that were, that you could create adventures in it. You can create dungeons in it. You can act as a dungeon master, and players could actually run through the adventure that you wrote and designed, and you can manipulate what was going on in real time with it. I mean, it was an incredible system.
Sounds like Neverwinter Nights to me.
But it's better. It was better than Neverwinter Nights. Neverwinter Nights, you had no DM control. All right. Here you could actually create the adventures, and including putting dropping notes in the game, and labeling things and detailing things, and creating the whole floor plan of a dungeon, and then creating the stats of the creatures that they encountered. And then as the players were going through in real time, you can change up what was going on. You could drop new monsters in if you needed to. You could lock doors if you needed to. You could do whatever you wanted to in DM mode. And these things were uploaded into the system, and then other people could actually download your creation and run it on their own end as well. It was really an incredible system. If they actually bothered to care enough about it, they had a tremendous game that they could have run for years. But it was all about just generating interest in those new books coming out. As soon as the books came out, bang, they stopped development on it. And it was a good studio. It was a Cryptic Studio was the primary developer of it. So it's just, that's the way that Wizards of the Coast operates.
Well, Roll20 is already on a steep downward decline. If they get picked up by Wizards of the Coast, it's pretty much dead in the water. Right? The Roll20 team does almost nothing to update Roll20. Right? Like just adding in some like you could copy and paste a list of every role-playing game from Wikipedia over and add it to a drop-down menu. Right? And it basically costs you nothing. But they have no interest in doing that. Because then adding more games to that list means there's more competition for like the stuff that they're advertising for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know. And Roll20 is there's certain aspects of Roll20 that just don't work. I mean, like their dynamic lighting still doesn't work that well.
I've never subscribed, so I don't know what that's
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, it still doesn't work that well, and never did. And then there's just other aspects like their tools, their drawing tools are not all that great either.
They started with more and better tools. Like I remember they used to have a jukebox, and it was like the best thing they ever added. And then they immediately ripped it out because I think people were uploading copyrighted songs to the service that they were using, and then streaming those songs through the game. But I mean, it was really great, like because all you had to do is it had its own search engine. You just type up something you needed for a little ambiance, and you play it, and it plays to everybody in the game, and it was smooth.
That's all I ever used Roll20 for was background music or background sound effects.
It used to be really good.
Yeah, I used Roll20 in my regular campaign because I have one layout that's set up just to have the character tokens, and so I can keep track of their hit points. They arrange because they can move their characters around, so I know where they are in relation to each other. So they can spread it out, and so now we could all see, well, this is where it is, and then if I'm going to drop down a 30 diameter circle, I can see who is going to fall within that circle, for an area effect or something like that. So we use it for that. I use it where I'll upload a map, and then I can hide the entire map behind the fog of war. And so as they're going through the map, I can then reveal the sections that they're going through. So it's kind of like, I had a player very early on in my campaign who was actually hand drawing the maps, and he was phenomenal at doing it. And then he dropped out of the game because someone else called their own character a tune, and he just didn't like it. So he's like, I'm out of here. It's like, I'm gone. It was like, kick him out or I'm out of here.
Games with any World of Warcraft maniacs.
Yeah. So yeah. No, the other guy just happened to call his own character a tune. And this guy who was the great map maker, he was like, if you don't kick him out, I'm gone. It was just, he just lost his mind over it. I was like, it's not that big of a deal. He's talking about his character, not yours. He was like, no, I won't play with anybody who refers to their character as a tune. So yeah, he might have had
calling your character a tune kind of distances yourself from it.
Well,
right? And
what?
for a role-playing game, that's a little strange.
Well, if you play online multiplayer, you call your character a tune.
I've only ever heard that in like World of Warcraft, and
I thought they're called avatars. I mean, I've played.
Yeah, I've heard Avatar a lot.
Yeah, I've heard Avatar almost always in a lot of MMOs. I played MMOs for like 15 years before I got burnt out from them. Yeah, I always called them avatars.
I played first-person shooters for years, and they were always tunes. I thought it was funny.
Oh, so maybe that's a first-person shooter term.
I played the Final Fantasy MMOs, both of them, and the Star Wars MMO. Not Galaxies, with the newer one, the Old Republic or something. And not once has anybody called their character a tune. Yeah. That's always been like a World of Warcraft thing for me.
Kind of off topic, though.
Private chat is the site I used to use for ambient sounds.
Comments in the private chat. So comments. Let me see. How come I don't see private chat?
In the StreamYard thing, I think is what he's talking about.
Yeah, in StreamYard.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
It's a tab right next to comments.
Yeah, I don't have mine. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
Oh well, I see it.
I don't see it. Yeah, no, I usually have the private under.
Can I be
maybe
dragged
because
away?
I have everything open? Let's see. No, I don't even have private.
This is the first time I've ever used this website, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know either. I was going to ask you.
It's called
Sean.
It's called tabletopaudio.com.
Oh, Sean, I was going to ask you. Did you ever play Eve online?
No.
No.
I've played a little bit.
I've watched every one of my friends play on their YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
the grinding you have to do is too much.
Oh
It's
yeah,
too much for my
it's
taste.
a lot of grind, but
It's pretty much an
oh, there's
automated
private
game.
chat. I see it now. Oh, it's not
And
next
then
to it. It's
and
at
then the
bottom.
learning curve seems a bit much. I just want to
Yes.
point. I just want to point my starship in the direction I want to go, and then it goes there.
It's not really much of like a spaceship sim, right? Like
No,
you're not really
it's-
worried about piloting your spaceship. It's mostly about having it do things while you do other things.
Yeah,
Right? It's kind of automated in a way.
It's it's very automated. Like the combat is automated, but you have to, and you don't have to like fire off skills or anything like that while you're doing it. It's not that way, but it's all about building the character, and then putting the character in the right ship at the right time. You can go out there with a more powerful ship, but if you don't have the skills to back it up, you're going to get chewed apart. So I played it for 12 years, and it's definitely more of a yes, it's a sim. Someone else put it in there. Let's see.
Why did you stop playing it?
Yeah, it's a work sim.
I played it for 12 years. I mean, I was like, all right, I've kind of done that already. I was there from the very start.
Did you ever make
How
any
much
real
was it
cash
a
off of it?
month?
No, I never made real cash over. At the time, my character was had like 120 million SP, and he still had the original Sleipnir before they downsized its fittings, to less than large. I think they made them all medium fittings. And I had people that were offering me $600 just for the ship.
Oh yeah.
All right, because the ship was discontinued. And I was still schlepping around with this thing, and when they could see my ship's build and everything, they were like, "Holy cow, how do you still have that thing?" And I was like, "Oh, this is my primary
I hear
ship."
people buying ships on eBay for EVE Online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can. I could probably jump back on my account and sell that ship, which is like a legacy ship.
But let's be real here. You could sell anything from any digital game.
Yeah.
Like Star Citizen, they're selling like the lifetime insurance thing.
Well, those things were crazy. Yeah. Did that game ever release?
Well, now that we're talking about it, I've seen some footage of it, and I like it. Right. It's still like in early access. It probably is never going to come out. But I love it. I love the appeal of it. But a lot of the people that I've seen comment on it say it has the problem of not actually having anything to do. Right. It's one of those like sandboxy type of things, and like there are things to do, but it's up to you to like go out there and do the things.
The last time I tried it, you were able to walk in the hangar and just walk around the hangar a little bit. There was nothing else.
Well, you need to check out Bed Banana's video on it, right? It definitely doesn't show off all the glitches and stuff, but it definitely gives you like a good feel for like the ambiance of the thing. And I love the idea of Star Citizen just for like recording B-roll in. Just like you're flying past a planet and you're just like looking out the cockpit, and this nice, good, beautiful views. Like that's the kind of shit I love. I don't really care much about like space combat or whatever. I like the idea that you can fly in and out of atmospheres and like between like buildings and shit like that. But like I don't really necessarily need anything to do. I love the way it looks.
Star Citizen doesn't have cutscenes. It doesn't have fast forward. It just has you in a ship in real time doing the thing, and there's no fade to black when you embark somewhere or debark, and doors open. You open the door, you walk out, you walk in. You're in a city. You're on a planet. But the thing with Star Citizen though, it's just you, just you and a million NPCs. The only MMO I ever played was Ultima Online. And that was back in 79,
wow.
78. No, 98.
That's before my
97,
time.
98.
Yeah.
That was all dial-up stuff. With Lord British.
Well, I don't know Lord British.
I was into the virtual worlds back then, back in the late 90s.
But I linked the video I was talking about, the Star Citizen video. I
Okay.
don't know if y'all are into machinima, but like that's like I like the art of ambiance, right? Like we were talking about Eve earlier, and the whole reason I found out about Eve was because somebody used like the B-roll of their ships flying and stuff like that for Gary's Mod Machinima, right? Like they would cut it in, like intersperse the footage of the ship.
Oh, I
with,
know, I
like-
know what you're talking about. Yeah, there was a video series of from Eve. That it was a really good web series. Exactly like that. They call that well, they call that Machina when they
Yeah,
take a
yeah, that was
video
cool.
game
I
and-
used to watch those.
Yeah.
They'd have
yeah,
the current setting, what's going on in the
Mhm.
lore, what's
Yeah.
happening.
yeah.
And it was done professionally by
Yeah,
the studio.
those
It
were
was really
good, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, those are
I
really
I used to
cool.
watch their dev reports. And
hmm
what country are they from? They had really cool accents.
Iceland.
Iceland, okay.
Yeah.
They were always, it was just a one-man band, it seemed, as
Yeah.
far as
No,
programming, I think.
actually CCP was where Ryan Dancy was before he went to Paizo. All right.
Oh,
And
okay.
Ryan Dancy was one of the 3 devs that was fired over the Bob incident. All right. So the
oh
Bob
my
incident.
god, the
Yeah.
Bob incident.
Yes, the Bob incident. So which really almost ended the game. It really did. That was a
Wasn't
huge.
that the reason why they hired all the economists? Was because of that, like directly in response?
Well, no, there was the economists that were hired just to run the economy because the in-game economy got so complicated that they needed real economists to actually help run it. What the Bob incident was that they had reporters in the game. So these are players who had special access to fly ships that could not be destroyed, and they would just go and watch big battles that were and they would be able to report on the battles for the websites and everything to say, hey, this is the big battle that took place and everything. And a reporter had gone into this big battle between the Band of Brothers, which was Bob, and another large alliance that took place. I forget which one it was. And when the guy was watching the battle take place, he saw some things that just didn't jive with the game mechanics as he
I
understood.
remember that.
And it turned out that some of the devs either released codes and released blueprints for certain things to Bob in order to give him an edge in that particular battle.
That's not
And
good.
all of a sudden it came out, and this reporter had reported these like anomalies that he saw during the battle. It's like, no, that's not right. That shouldn't have happened that way. Or, this ship was invulnerable, when it shouldn't have been, all
I
kinds of
remember
things.
those videos.
Right. And then it came out that they were like, well, wait a second here. There was it all led right into the in-game economy too. And all of a sudden you heard that the journalist program was ended immediately. That person that was reporting this stuff, his account got banned. And then CCP announced that 3 developers were released from their services, and one of them was Ryan Dancy.
Well, that explains why I didn't see their videos for a while.
Yeah,
The big kicker is that like Plex or whatever has like a direct real world currency translation.
yes.
So people are losing money on these ships.
Well, Bloodworth, I got to get going.
Yep. Well, thanks for
I
popping
gotta
in.
go eat. Yep.
All right.
Thanks for
And
having me. See you
I'm
later.
sure you'll stream all night. Okay.
Oh, we'll see.
But
We
yeah.
shall see.
All right. Take it easy. Okay. So Sean is about to log out. And who's Sean C? Is Sean C been waiting? Let me see. Hey, Sean, I didn't realize that you popped out. I'm sorry.
I did.
I just
Yeah.
down and I was like, oh, wait a second. So I thought you were in, and I was like, all right, your thing is kind of faded. So I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So yeah, that Bob thing. Oh my God, how far ago was that?
I remember
That was
that actually.
That
a long
happened like
time ago.
2006 or something like that. It was a long time ago. You're right. It was definitely a long time ago. That might have been like 2006 or 2008 or something. Now I'll have to look it up again.
It might
But-
actually be a little later than that because that's a little far back. I was a little young then, if it was that far back.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Eve came out in 2002. Around then, around 2002. Back when we used to call it spreadsheets in space, and then yeah, no, it was probably later than that. You're right. It had to be around.
Yeah, I don't know the exact window, but if you say like
Yeah.
2008 or something like that, I would have been like real young. So
All right. Yeah, maybe it was later.
Just slightly later. I think 2008 was when I got into it.
It might have been 9 or 10.
Yeah, I think so. About a year or so later, I got out of it
Yeah.
about a year later, and then that's when the big
Yeah,
kerfuffle
about
happened.
around 9 or 10, and I stopped. The first time I stopped playing it was around 2012, and then I picked it up again around 13, 14. I took like a year off, and then I was done by 2015. So it had to be somewhere in there. I just see when Ryan Dancy went to Paizo.
Yes.
Yeah, then that'll tell you the year. I think it was around the time that Age of Conan came out, which would have been 09. But anyway, alrighty. So let's see. So Holy Soul, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting and chatting with you before. So what's your primary game that you play or run?
the one that I've had the longest experience with is Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I ran it for 2 years straight for some work colleagues, and it is just such a breeze. Right?
Yeah.
It is so smooth. It's tiny. Right? I've got the supplement book that lets you create monsters within like the flavor profile. It's like a bunch of tables, and like you can just do like a monster of the week thing. And I love the setting architecture. Something about the like colonial, like New World thing, like that grabs me. Like I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. So I'm sure that you saw James Raggy's video yesterday.
No.
James does not own a shirt.
Yeah,
in any of his videos.
Yeah. That's kind of a weird thing with him. It's like
It's fine.
Is it really that hot in Finland?
No,
it's like no. I was like, but
well, he seems like a weird character. I could see not having shirts be a thing.
Yeah, he definitely went off the rails on one bookshelf. And
I don't keep up with any of his stuff. So
yeah,
if he's like dropped videos, I have no idea. The last interaction I had with him is like years ago. I bought a shirt, and they sent me the wrong shirt, and then he was like, "You know what? I'll just send you a new one for free." Right? And they sent me the right shirt.
He sent you the shirt off his back, and that's so. Apparently so. So anyway.
But yeah, like recently I haven't played much of anything. I've been looking through Twilight 2000 First Edition, and I've
love the game.
I've never played it.
I may not have joined the military if I didn't play that game. So that game was certainly something that influenced me. I mean the fact that my father was a veteran as well. But I joined the Army in 1990. So I was that was the last RPG I was playing. I stopped playing around like 87 or 88. And then by 90 I was, joining the military. So it was like, and I was like, wow, this stuff is like pretty accurate what they had in there.
Yeah, I'm a little
So-
late for that. I would have loved to
Yeah.
be around during that era, be able to actually play tabletop role playing games. But
Yeah, no, yeah, the late 70s or and through late 80s was kind of my sweet spot of my teen years of Dungeons and Dragons, and then all the other role playing games that I played for that 10, 11 years or so. Then it was off to computer gaming, RPGs on computer, and still console games, mostly sports. Then military. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, we played so much role-playing games in the military." I was like, I never
Yeah,
even got the sense that anybody was playing in either of the two units I served with. I served with I served with the military police. Nobody was playing. I mean, we were shooting dice. But nobody
that's
was
a weird
playing.
thing to be playing.
Yeah, but we weren't. Yeah, no one was playing it. It just didn't get the sense, like, because my unit, everybody back in the real world, they were all we're all police officers, and I was also at the headquarters company, when I was with them. If I stay with them the full time, and if I re-upped, my unit was ultimately the unit running Abu Ghraib. So I knew half the people that got into trouble while they were there, the command people. But yeah, we just never played in the military. I just didn't,
Wow,
never saw it.
That's weird. I was a Cav Scout back in the 80s, a cavalry
Yeah.
scout in the Army. And Twilight 2000 came out while I was in, and we played I ran the hell out of that. AD&D ran that all over the place. Star Frontiers ran that all over the place. I want to say I ran Basic Expert D&D in Germany for a while. I played in a Palladium fantasy game there and a RuneQuest game while I was in Germany, stationed there. So there was a lot of gaming going on where I was at.
Well, because that was at the height of it.
Sure.
1990. It was you were deep into second edition. I guess second edition just didn't carry like first edition did. And by 90,
Well, it's still carrying now. I've yet to see anybody play 1E, but everybody's playing 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been running 1E now for a couple of years, and I have no problem getting people to run, to join a game in 1E.
Shit, if you're still running, you need an extra player. Because I would like to get some experience under my belt before I try to run this damn game.
Yeah, I was up to when we first started, I had 10 players, and it was the largest group I've ever run. And it was tough, but it was fun to do that. Then a couple people dropped out, and then we were with we were 9 players. Then we dropped down to 7. Then went back up to 9, and we ran about 35 weeks with 9 players. And we're into week 48 now. Played every week nonstop, and 3 to 4 hour session. Every week, and down to 7 players. So probably going to bring one more person back on. We have some duplicate classes. So we have 2 clerics, we have a druid, and we have a paladin. Paladin has at least the one healing ability, but we have a lot of healing going on, which is probably one of the reasons why we haven't lost anybody, but we've had about 10 close calls, and close calls like people into negative hit points, and having to roll system shock rolls not to die. And so far, everybody's been lucky with that. But yeah, I mean, it's I've never had a problem getting people, to come to an AD&D first edition game.
Okay, there's a miscommunication. I'm talking about Twilight 2000 first edition.
Oh no, that I don't see anybody playing that. I don't know about the new one. Like the new one, I've heard it's okay. I think who puts that out? Free League.
Yeah, Free League.
Yeah, it's
they
probably
did the
good
aliens
if it's Free
thing.
League. Yeah, it's probably good if it's Free League, but yeah, I'm not.
Doesn't matter how good it is. I don't have that kind of money. Besides, I just recently bought the reprint of like I said, I have this curse. When I buy a role playing game, they start releasing new shit, right? So I've got 1E, and nobody wants to play it.
Yeah. So no, I don't have a 1E Twilight 2000 game going. I'd love to play in it. I don't want to run it.
I might have to run it
It's
because nobody else is willing to.
It's an interesting game to run. I'll tell you that right now. I quite frankly, I thought that the second edition rules were a little better, even though they were a little more complicated. But yeah, it's not terrible. It's an oddball. It's an oddball game from what Game Designers Workshop had come out with. I thought it'd be more Traveler like. It is not, except for the character generation. You know, where you have like your terms in your military.
Man, they have a whole ass generation worksheet. It's like a whole page. It's not even for stuff you put on your character sheet. It's the build up to putting stuff on your character sheet.
Right.
Hey, Crafty.
But yeah, I've been slowly looking over that book. Since nobody else is going to run it for me, I'm going to take it into my own hands to run something. And I was thinking of maybe meshing like Stalker and Twilight 2000. And the idea, well, I mean, they're both like super irradiated. They happen in Eastern Europe, you know, like it's like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I'm trying to take care of the spam.
Oh, they're still going? I thought you already did that.
No,
I did that. Yeah, no, they keep on running it with a different thing.
They are so eager to get
this
it.
is the first time I've ever had it. So I guess we're giving off that vibe. It's like,
you know, it's role playing, right?
Yeah.
Hey, no kink shaming here.
No, but we had a lot of fun playing. It was great running the first edition. Once you got over that, some guns only had 3 shots in them, and it's like, why do they only have 3 shots? Because each shot is 3 bullets. You know, it just got some weird calculations going on. But yeah, we played the hell out of that. Ran all over Poland. The guys had lots of fun driving around Poland, distilling alcohol and shooting commies. So trying to get back home, which they never did. They never got back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually possible.
No, you can get back home. It's a lot. That's a big campaign getting back home.
Yeah, we did. We actually played that. We actually played through that, and we did I think the last one that I remember doing was the Ozarks one with the. Yeah. That was a cool adventure.
The stateside adventures were odd.
Yeah,
they were weird,
but they were, you know, that was such a great game. Really was. Loved it. Okay, so let's see. So Crafty come on. So Crafty, I'm looking to get some Conan 2D20 in sometime during the summer. Maybe a couple one-shots here and there. So I know that's one of your jams. You know, Max, I'm waiting for your videos where you're breaking them down. I know somebody gave you the core book. So waiting for you to get around to doing that. I'll definitely have to watch that. I hope you didn't do it already. I just missed it. Like I said, last week I was so busy, I just didn't get a chance to do very much of anything other than just run my Tuesday night game, and that was it. But now I should be wide open. You're free every Monday and Tuesday. You know what? Monday's going to be one of my go-to days because I know Tuesday I already run my game. So Monday night, I could possibly do Mondays as well. I know some of my players are looking to do like a Saturday game because they're, you know, still working and stuff. So, but yeah, I might do like Monday, like one shots and everything. I have some cool stuff with Conan 2D20 where it's just, you know, one GM and one player. And, you know, just running that game system with one character works so well. It's amazing how well that system works with just one character because, you know, Conan was always by himself.
Yeah,
you know,
Conan's one guy.
Yeah, he was one guy. I mean, once in a while, you have like a henchman or something just to do.
Yeah, but they're
a
NPCs.
few
You
little
know how it
things.
is.
Yeah, yeah, and I created a system for doing that as well, and like a reputation system where you could attract certain NPCs, and ones that you could leave here and there. Like one will go do your shopping for you, kind of stuff, and another one makes your sandwiches, and
Is this the Modifius
Yeah.
cloning game?
Modifius, yes. And that system, yes, I know Max will say that they went woke, but they went woke in the last book of 20 books. And as far woke as they went was they said, we're not going to use mysterious, exotic, or martial arts. But they only changed a few instances of those 3 words in that book. And they delayed releasing it because of those 3 words. That's what happens when you hire a sensitivity reader that's not very thorough. So it's like they got a couple instances out. They made a big hoopla about it. They released it 4 months late because of that, and
then the people they changed it for didn't buy it.
Yeah, the people that they did it for didn't care.
Didn't they also make a Fallout ripoff?
Yeah, they made Fallout. I'm waiting for them. I predict that Modifius, probably along with Free League, because sometimes they work together, are going to come out with an Elder Scrolls tabletop RPG.
Oh my god.
And if they get that license and they produce the book in the quality that they can produce books, that's the 5e killer. All right.
And I don't know. I think all the people who would be interested in buying an Elder Scrolls RPG are probably playing the Warhammer reskin current.
No, they're playing. I'll disagree. They're not playing Warhammer. They're playing Skyrim.
No, there's a Warhammer reskin.
For
Elder Scrolls.
They're playing. There's a for Elder Scroll. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Warhammer reskin.
It uses
the
the same skill system where it's like a percentile and like has different stats. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's on 1D4chan somewhere, right? And it's the one I see most commonly being played when people talk about playing an Elder Scrolls tabletop role playing game.
Okay.
And it's like just a reskin of Warhammer, but like using the flavor of the Elder Scrolls universe.
Oh yeah, no, they'll use their 2D20 system for it. And I think that will do exceedingly well.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Bethesda's going to want to have another RPG out there with the Elder Scrolls name on it.
Yeah, with competition.
I know it's a tabletop game, but they see it as competition for their computer game.
But I don't think the people who are really interested in the computer games would necessarily translate over to the tabletop role-playing game.
They did it with Fallout, though.
Well,
Fallout, I don't know anybody who's played the Fallout role-playing game.
Yeah.
I played
Fallout role-playing game are playing the P&P from like 20 years ago.
I play Fallout 4, but that thing's old now, and mine's highly modded, and 76 basically wasn't very well received. So
76 is basically just 4, but I don't like the engine that they're on. I really liked 3. I played so much of 3.
Fallout 3 is my favorite of the franchise.
Like I know New Vegas is better written and all that, but like I've got like the rose-colored glasses for 3 because I played them when I was a youngin' and I loved it. It's so good. It's what really got me into Fallout because I was never into. Right, I think the isometric computer games were before my time.
Yeah, the Fallout 1 is brutal. That's really hard game to play. Hard game to get through. Just the graphics and the. And the clunkiness of it, very, very hard to play. Glad I have it, but just hard to play. He's playing Fallout on his YouTube channel, James Corp. That's a channel I don't know. I have too many channels I follow. Jeez.
Yes.
It's hard to, I must have I have 400 channels to follow, something like that. Because there was a long time where I was like, certainly up through like 1,000 subs or so. I was like, if you follow, I'll follow, kind of thing, and I literally have at least between 400 and 600 channels.
That's
That
insane.
I'm
Yeah, I
still
don't think
following,
anybody subscribes
you know.
to me, so
Yeah.
I just subscribe to the channels that I watch. Really,
Yeah. No, I tried that reciprocity thing. It's just too many. I have too many subs now to even keep up
yeah.
with it.
I mean, if someone wants to do reciprocity with me,
Yeah.
like if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I'm down.
Yeah. I do the same thing on like
subscribers.
on Twitter. I drop people that I follow when I was like, all right, you've had like 3 days to follow me back. So, I was like, you're relegated. You're relegated. It's like, if you don't follow me back, you get relegated. So that's gonna be the word of the week is relegated.
Relegated.
Yes. All right. Okay, gentlemen. I think this has been a nice chill stream, and I will be coming out with a video tomorrow. Probably I know someone had asked me about my collection, start going through, but I'm not going to do my RPG collection. I think I'm going to do my Robert E. Howard collection and
cool.
go through those books and just put those things out there and show them off and everything. And I'll start right from where I picked up with it. I started with the Ace books, and I honestly don't know whether I was reading Conan before I played Dungeons and Dragons, or I did Dungeons and Dragons first and then played Conan. They both happened around the same time, so around 87 or 88. So when I was like 10 or 11 years old, that's when I started playing. And yeah, I honestly don't remember which came first, Conan or D&D. But they came at a perfect time for me because I wasn't a very good reader when I was in fifth grade, and below. I was always like below grade level in reading. And once I came across, once I started playing D&D, I mean, that's the thing that I attribute it the most to, is once I started playing that, I just started reading like crazy.
What, really?
And, yeah.
I was the opposite. I was a voracious reader for the longest time. And then, like, as soon as I started getting reference material, right? As soon as school books started happening, like textbooks, like anything you have to like flip back and forth for, that's when I lost all my interest in reading. I can barely parse this role-playing games now.
I had to go to summer school in 7th grade, and I read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings all in 1 week. All four books in 1 week. All I did was read that entire time, that entire 1 week of vacation time that I had before I had to go back to summer school. And it's just, I mean, what is that? That's 2,000 pages. I think something like that in a week. So that's how much the game had impacted me, is that, or gaming, I should say, impacted me, is that it just made me a voracious reader. And then, like I said, I was below grade level when I was in 5th and 6th grade. By the time I was in 8th grade, I was reading above college level. It was just exploded. So, so like I said, I don't know which came first, reading Conan or playing D&D, but they were around the same time.
Have you read any of Howard's boxing stories or his westerns?
Yep, I have them all.
Yeah,
I'm going to show you. Yep,
good.
I have everything. I'm going to show them. Bear Creek is really into. Actually, my second favorite character though is El Barak. I love those stories.
Oh yeah.
And when the RPG Pundit brought out Sword and Caravan, I was like, finally, I might have the setting, to actually come, because I was like, I wish they would come out, with a RPG set with that character in mind. I mean, I have Solomon Kane. I have Savage World Solomon Kane. I'll buy anything that's related to Robert E. Howard.
Right.
So I have the board games. I have the monolith, the huge box set of 1,500 awesome figures. But it's like, Will I ever play that? Absolutely not.
No.
But I have it. It's like I have to have it. Same thing with the Solomon Kane. I have both the, I have the I think that's Monolith as well. Will I ever play it? No, but I just had to have it. So you can see behind me, I'm a big Conan fan,
I see
and
that. Yeah.
So yeah.
That,
So
that
yeah.
was my thing. I started reading Conan, and I think a friend gave me one of the books. I forget which one it was, but it was what were we in high school? I think it was freshman year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that and I said, wow, this is pretty great. So I bought them all, went down to the used bookstore, got them all. And it's like, well, and then I bought another book about Howard, I think. And they said, he wrote all these other books. I said, okay. So then I hunted down everything he ever did,
Yeah.
I think by about 25, I'd read everything.
Yeah, and I like when people like reference him, like game designers reference him, and I really like the idea of his stance on like anti-civilization,
Right.
and that's what the real commentary is, of Conan, is that the barbarous world is a much more reliable world, and
Well, it isn't corrupt.
yeah, it's not corrupt, right?
It's more honest.
Yeah, it's more
Right.
honest. It's much more reliable. You kind of know where you stand, and so it's just like you can see his, I guess his view on life. I mean, unfortunately, he ended it so early, but because it's only we're left wondering where he would have gone, with other creations beyond that. But still, I mean, just love the books.
Yes.
So
I never really got much into Howard stuff. I never had the opportunity. I did like a lot of Lovecraft stuff, and I think they were contemporaries.
oh yeah, they spoke to each other, and they went back and forth. They trade a lot, because Howard wrote some Cthulhu mythos stories as well, and those are really cool. But he set them in Western settings, so he has some short stories that
Like
are
Wild West Western.
yeah, like Wild West Western, and
That sounds really
with
cool. I kind of want to check that out.
Yeah, those are. I gotta find the actual book. When I do my collection, I'll find that particular story, and I'll share that. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing a video series of just going through my hardcover and novel collection. And
I'll have to keep an eye out, because that Western one sounds really interesting. Like, I love Lovecraft, and I've recently gotten into the Western stuff, so I think the combination would be really nice.
Yeah, and then he had his Western stories, like the Bear Creek series with Breckenridge Elkins. Yeah. So and those are, he was kind of like the huge, stupid, but courageous, with he had a real sense of like a wisdom about him, but he was just meant to be kind of like an oath. But
what got me most about those was the language. It was just so god awful and hilarious. The backwoods talk. It was just hilarious.
But yeah, it's been a long time since I've read those. I really should get back to doing those. I had everything on audio at one point too, and at one point until my Amazon account got hacked, and I lost like 100 audiobooks. So I was like, oh shit, it's all gone. But yeah, I had a lot of his stuff on audio as well. Okay, so yeah,
you need to go.
Yes, I need to go. So you all have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. I hope everybody enjoyed. And
hey, I appreciate you for having me.
Thanks for having me.
I'll do these more often now that I have time. And yes, I will definitely be doing that series of books sometime within the next couple of days, actually. So you all have a good one.
We'll see you.
You too.
All right.